This looks impossible. The timer is set to 0 milliseconds. So logically, setTimeout should run first, right? But JavaScript does something completely different. The promise callback runs before setTimeout, even with 0 delay. So why does this happen? Let's visualize what JavaScript is actually doing internally. When JavaScript starts executing code, everything first enters the call stack. JavaScript executes line by line, synchronously. When setTimeout executes, JavaScript does not immediately run the callback. Instead, JavaScript schedules the callback through web APIs or node APIs. Next, JavaScript executes Promise.resolve. This immediately creates an already fulfilled promise. Then registers a fulfillment callback. But because the promise is already fulfilled, JavaScript does not wait. The callback immediately gets scheduled into the Microtask queue. Even with 0 milliseconds, setTimeout does not execute immediately. The callback still gets scheduled through web APIs or node APIs, then placed into the normal callback queue. And now we finally see the real reason this behavior happens. The event loop constantly checks whether the call stack is empty. But JavaScript has a very important rule. Before JavaScript processes normal callback queues, it always processes the entire Microtask queue first. So the promise callback executes first. Only after all microtasks finish, JavaScript processes the normal callback queue. So now the setTimeout callback finally executes. So setTimeout with 0 milliseconds does not mean immediate execution. It really means, run this callback later, after the current execution finishes, and after all microtasks are completed. So promises run before setTimeout, because promise callbacks use the Microtask queue, and JavaScript always processes microtasks before normal callbacks. But microtasks are not magic either. They still must wait until the current execution finishes and the call stack becomes empty. And that single event loop rule explains one of the most confusing behaviors in JavaScript. Subscribe for more visual breakdowns of how JavaScript actually works behind the scenes.